this far. We have a peer counselors training manual that we have developed for use in our universities. We have a mentorship policy. We have a life skills curriculum. We have resource persons in the TV and generally in the media. We have a solid research base. You came in when already we had introduced ourselves, but in here we have a solid base of research that is evidence-based. And on top of that, we do a lot of networking. And this is where we can boast about our strength. Because every time there is a crisis, you'll find Kupca stepping in. Like, for example, during the Dusit hotel terrorist attack, Kupca were on the ground for 5 days. When Garissa University students were attacked by terrorists, Kupca were there on the ground. And we did regional counseling for the students all over the country. And eventually, we were the lead association in resettling them at Moi University. I remember being the lead supervisor for 40 counselors who were on the ground relocating Garissa University students to Moi. And recently, even the Pwani University incident. We were in the front line. We were able to bring the students to Egerton University. And I want to laud Kabarak University and Laikipia University, who joined Egerton University in giving psychological aid to the students. So we have achieved a lot, and we are here to stay. Now, having given you that brief on Kupca, allow me to give you a small brief about the workshop today. We have 2 workshops in a year. And in the last 2 years, we have been having a series of workshops on the theme mental health. And today, we continue our conversation on the same theme, but with a focus on anxiety. Our slogan is, look around, look within. Because our surroundings say a lot about our mental health. We want to take a moment to consider our surroundings. We need to ask ourselves if we feel safe or anxious in our environments. We are in Baraton. Are we feeling safe here? That's what we need to ask ourselves. Do we have access to healthcare and food? Are our offices and homes supporting us both physically and mentally? Do we have social connections, neighborhoods, and community infrastructure that are stable? Today, Kupca invites us to look around and look within as we consider every part of our environment and its effect on our mental health and well-being. Kupca is challenging us to look at our world and how different factors can affect our mental health. Where a person is born, lives, learns, works, and gathers, as well as their economic stability and social connections, are part of what are called the social determinants of health. The more these factors work in our favor, means we are more likely to have a better mental well-being and work better for both our students and staff. However, when it seems like the environment is working against us, our mental health can suffer. What we know for sure is that there are many factors that contribute to mental health well-being, and we all benefit from stable environments, strong communities, and ready access to needed services. Some aspects of our environment may be outside of our immediate control, while other areas we have potential to make change. Our hope is that this workshop will provide useful suggestions for ways to adapt our surroundings to improve overall health and well-being, as well as suggestions for ways to cope when changes seem out of reach. In ending, Prof, allow me to say that counselors and psychologists are extremely pivotal in any institution, and where they are, there is hope. However, the practice on the ground has been that counselors and psychologists are only considered important when there is a crisis. At other times, they are a forgotten lot. We want to appeal to the University of Eastern Africa, Baraton, to facilitate your counselors for Kupca workshops. Previously, we used to have a hall full, and you can see today we don't have as many members because of the financial crisis. But these workshops are very important, and therefore we want to appeal that you allow your counselors to come for these workshops because it's good for their personal and professional development. We also want to make an appeal that you sponsor them for supervision, which is also a professional requirement. Unfortunately, University of Eastern Africa, Baraton, has only one student counselor against several student numbers. And we know there is burnout as one of our main problems. So we want to make an appeal that if you could add one more to Lois, it would really be of help. Because we are looking at our environment. Is her environment safe? Lois did not talk to me. I am simply echoing what our theme today is all about. I want to believe that the University of East African Baraton is different. Otherwise, we would not be here today. So I particularly want to acknowledge the vice chancellors, the dean of students, the university colleges represented here in Kupca in absentia. And in particular, allow me to acknowledge Dr. Malon Juma. For us, thank you, Daktari. For us to have this workshop, many things happen behind the scenes, and he has been right at the center of organization of this workshop. We are truly thankful for the process and having made us reach this level. My special thanks goes to the VC University of Eastern Africa, Baraton. Not only for allowing us to meet at your university, sir, but for gracing us with your presence. Most VCs don't attend. So we don't take that for granted. Your support means a lot to us, and we are thrilled to have you. Thank you again for making it so special for us. Thank you, one and all. Now, before I leave the stage, allow me to say that I don't work alone. In Kupca, we have executive members. We have 7 executive members. 3 of them are absent today for circumstances beyond our control, but we have 4 today, and I would like them to just come and introduce themselves. So beginning with Francis.
Our Vice Chancellor, I am Francis Gashero. I am Assistant Secretary Kupca. I am from Chuka University. I'm also the Assistant Dean of Student. Thank you.
The Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Dean of Students, and my fellow Kupca members. Good morning. Susan Boto is my name, an executive member of Kupca, but I'm from Daystar University, where I'm also the Deputy Dean of Students. God bless you.
The Vice Chancellor, the DVC, the Dean of Students, and all the Kupca members. Good morning. I'm Jane Ombura from Egerton University. I'm the secretary.
Thank you. That is the team that leads this association. So I want to hand over this mic to Lois Ngetich, the student counselor, University of Eastern Africa, Baraton, who will then take us to the next level. Karibu Lois.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Our Vice Chancellor, Sir Professor Philip Mayo, our DVC, Sir Dr. Kamundi, our Dean of Students, Dr. Marlon Juma, our chaplain, Dr. Rebecca Omwenga, our Kupca chairperson, Dr. Nyagaya Lillian, our guests amidst us. I take this opportunity to welcome you to Baraton University. And Professor, allow me to welcome all our guests from our various universities in Kenya. Professor, indeed, this is a great honor and privilege to have you here. Thank you for making time to come and grace this very important workshop. Our guests from various universities, I want to tell you, Baraton is the place to be. We are so happy that you are here. Indeed, I think this has been a very special event to us, and here in Baraton, we love visitors, and I extend a sincere, warm welcome to all of you. And I want to, just before we do anything, Professor, allow me to introduce those who work with us here in Baraton. I'm not alone. We have some members from Baraton University, Baraton team. I request that you stand for a brief introduction. Because of time, I request that you all stand. Including the media team. Our media team, kindly stand. With us is Dean of Women, Madam Evelyn Adegu. She's also a counselor, Dr. Marlon Juma, and our chaplain, Dr. Rebecca Omwenga. We have a student and a peer counselor also working in our office, Pastor Yuda. And we have a team of our Baraton media team. We also have with the team Pastor Malai, but he's not here with us now. There is a very important event going on. He's attending to that, but he will be joining us. I think at this time, I would like to say thank you for coming. And I would want to invite Dr. Marlon, who will invite our DVC SARS, Dr. Kamundi. Dr. Marlon.
Our Vice Chancellor, Professor Philip Mayo, Deputy Vice Chancellor for Student Services and Affairs, Dr. Shadrach Kamundi, Kupca Chair, Dr. Lillian Nyagaya, and the executive, Kupca members, we're so delighted to be in this place after 6 or so years. Really? 2014, this is 2023. We thank God for the care upon each one of you while you are away. We're so delighted to have all of you here. And Vice Chancellor Sir, as part of Baraton, we are very visible in Kupca. Last year, when you allowed us to go to Daystar, we made a presentation on behalf of this institution, and it was nice collabo. Friends, welcome again. Welcome again to Baraton. Just before I mention those who are here, allow me to say, Vice Chancellor Sir, that Madam Nyagaya called us a little earlier this year, and we want to thank her in particular for choosing Baraton as the next venue for our rotational meetings. They asked to be here the previous week, 7th to 10th, and because we had visitors on this campus, we allowed them to push. And they, with flexibility, pushed this very workshop to this very week. Thank you so much for understanding our university dynamics, XCOM. And so on this campus, we're so delighted because we're going to have hands-on. Vice Chancellor Sir, I know it was not mentioned, but let me bring to our understanding that we have different groups together. Allow me, Madam Chair, to mention the categories. We have friends from Kabarak University. Vice Chancellor Sir, we have a team from Kabarak. Wherever you are, kindly stand with us. Again, the 5th one is coming. Well represented. So we have also Tangaza University, represented by Sister Lydia. We have Daystar, of course. Daystar. Thank you. We have Masinde Mliro University. Our sister behind here. Thank you. We have Egerton, the mighty Dr. Kamundi. They have an issue with us, right? Egerton, thank you so much. We have University of Kabianga. We're so delighted to have all of you here. We have Kisii University. And Dr. Shadrach, those are your people. Yes, we speak. Those actually, she started here a few years ago. And if you please, you can ask her to remain with us. So she can be part of, she can support Lois. We shall negotiate. We're so glad that we have such a powerful team. It's my singular honor, therefore, to bring to us the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Services, Dr. Shadrach Kamundi, who doubles up as the marketer of this university, to speak to us. Let's put our hands together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mahalan. Praise the Lord, everyone. Indeed, this is an exciting moment to have all of you here. Some of you we meet at student services forums, Madam Osoro among others, and today we are all here. Welcome to the great University of Eastern Africa. Briefly, let me let you know what this university is and what we stand for before I bring to you my boss. The University of Eastern Africa, Baraton, opened the doors in 1979. I believe by then we had only one full-fledged university in the Republic of Kenya. And we thank God for the products of this university. And I'm proud to say that many of you have your children here. And many of the Vice Chancellor's children prefer to study here from where you come. It's not accidental, but it's because of many reasons. One of them being the levels of discipline. I think we are compared to none. Not that you don't have discipline in your universities, but you all know why we are ranked the best in terms of discipline, and we enjoy the atmosphere of friendly students. Our students really enjoy being here. They are very free with us. Some of us are nicknamed Daddy by students. And you know, when a discipline master is called Daddy, all is spoken. Friends, we are so happy to be here. This is the university which produces the best nurses in the Republic. There is a possibility that the nursing lecturers in your university are graduates of Baraton. That possibility is very high. And I'll not talk much, only to tell you that when you go back, you continue teaching there, but your child should study here. For reasons very well known by you. I can assure you, when your child is here, you can sleep well. You sleep and enjoy your sleep, because you'll never be called at night that niko kwa msitu nimejificha. Here they come, and within the required time, they are out. And we are proudly saying that we are in the job market. In the job market, you'll find a Baraton student. Recently, in conclusion, I want to recognize that Safaricom was looking for the best person to handle their finances. And the best that they got as the chief finance officer of Safaricom, they took our graduate. And among others, the Nursing Council CEO, among other people. So I'm not here to talk much because my boss is here. I wanted just to tell you, you're welcome to the coolest and greenest university in the region, the only university in Eastern. Unajua, mukienda kwenu mnasema we are the university. But this is the university of the region, Eastern region of Africa. Without talking much, may I now call upon the VC of the University of the region, who is none other than Professor Philip Mayo. Karibu sana. Karibu sana, VC, and we are proud of you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, DVC Student Services. It is a privilege to be here, and I want to thank the organizing committee for selecting this place as the venue for your workshop. Kupca Chair, that is Dr. Lillian Nyagai, and then we have your executive committee members. Then we have also the representatives from different universities, and also we have the Baraton team. I would like to say good morning. Yes, it's a privilege that I find myself in a good position in the community of scholars as well as professionals. We really appreciate the work you are doing. It's not easy, but we want to thank you for the good work that you are doing in your different institutions. I think my team has already been introduced. We have DVC students Affairs and Services, Dr. Shadrach Kamundi. We have Dr. Marlon Juma, who is the Dean of Students. And we have Dr. Rebecca, who is our Associate Chaplain. And we have Madam Evelyn, who is in the Student Services. And then we have our counselor, University Counselor, Lois Ngetich. These are the leaders that we work together in this university. Student Services is a very critical department for me as a Vice Chancellor, because our customers are students. And it is very critical for me because all of us were one-time students. And I remember when I was a student, I was the president of the Student Council. So when I'm running the university, I run as student leader first. Because I've been there before. And we try our best to ensure that our students are doing well. We have some of our people who are handling the different sections of the university. But I want to thank our team, led by Lois, especially in the counseling section. Initially, we had men as counselors, initially, until one time when I was in the council, they told me, VC, I think you are not gender sensitive. So we decided that let us bring a lady as a university counselor. And I want to thank Lois. She has done an excellent job. As I think Dr. Lillian said, we need to have an additional counselor. Anyway, I think it's okay. We have a large number of students. And I think actually we have been discussing about how to assist her. So I think it will come. You don't need to worry about that. The agenda is going to come, so don't worry. I would like to mention also that the theme that actually you are discussing is very critical. Mental health anxiety. I don't know the far-reaching effects of this topic, but I know it is not an easy area. Because working in a university, and it is good all of you are coming from the different universities, and I've seen you are well represented from universities. You know, when we are dealing with university people, we are more comfortable. And when you mention the names of the universities, I almost know the leaders of all those universities. I know all of them. Yeah, because we are always in the leadership. Either we are in the Vice Chancellor's meetings, or we are having some discussions. Sometimes we meet even in the National Assembly. So we meet with all those leaders from your institutions. And more so, this university being a private university, it is a privilege that the University of Eastern Africa, Baraton Vice Chancellor, is the Vice Chairman of private universities in Kenya. So our chairman is Professor Mbugua from Catholic University, and I am the Vice Chairman. So I understand university problems and issues very well. Whether it is public or private, we understand our problems very well. But when you touch this topic that you are addressing this in this workshop, I would like to mention that it's a very important topic. The mission you have said is the caring professionals, which actually it is very good. Because to me, I think all these problems have come up because there is lack of care somewhere. When you see a counseling issue, a problem, psychological issue, it is likely to be due to lack of care somewhere. So the only thing is to identify where is the problem. Because if we are a caring community, a caring society, then all these problems that we are facing could not be there. So we appreciate the role you are playing as a caring professionals, and we want to thank you and stay committed on that. You know, some of the issues that we have in universities, I started seeing this mental issue when I was in secondary school. And I was wondering why some of the students are facing some challenges. And I could notice that there are some problems somewhere. But then, when I was a student in the university, I also realized the same problems, that many students are facing challenges in different ways. And some professionals are needed in order to assist the students. When I came here also, I think my team also will know that this topic is also very important among our students. Because some of the issues generate mental problems. Because I remember when we had gone to for a church service, and when we were praying, somebody entered. I don't know whether, Kamundi, you are here. A student entered. Were you here? I don't know, Dr. Marlon Juma. I think you had gone. You had gone for your PhD studies. A student entered and now decided to disrupt our services, you know? And I was wondering, hey, how do we handle this one? Because we're in the church, and somebody entered and made a lot of noise, and then went to the pulpit and started addressing the members, and we were wondering what is happening. You see, I had to call the security guys to save us. It was not an easy thing. So we had to rush the guy to hospital, and then treatment started. So you can see the role that you play. It's not an easy thing. We have issues on this, and it is not only students. Even this thing is among the workers also. Only that maybe the scale is different. Some are mild, and you could see. Some are pronounced. So we need to engage and try to address the issues and the problems we are facing. You know, when you are working in a university, there is a lot of pressure from different quarters, whether you are a worker or even a student. And even some of us as parents, we give pressure to our children. Because I remember there was a time I used to tell my children, hii grade ambayo unaniletea, I'm not comfortable. So when the child goes back to study, he or she knows the grade that I would like to see. So they are under too much pressure. Sometimes they tell me, oh, your son has fainted. And then I know there is a problem. Maybe your child has fainted. I know this is a great issue. So sometimes we also give our children pressure. So, and the students who are here, they could also be undergoing similar kind of situations. Some of the students and workers, they face challenges in different ways. And they are unable to resolve some of these issues. And therefore, you are very critical to assist these people. Some of our students, they face financial challenges. They don't know even where to get the money to pay for the school fees. They feel they should proceed with their education, but they are not able. Some of them face financial challenges even in getting food and maintaining or sustaining themselves, even getting rent and whatever. And then finally, all these things build up in the body. And it will explode to something else. And these are some of the challenges that we faced. Some of the problems students also generate amongst themselves, like relationship issues. They don't have male-female relationship. Some of them go to extent of even killing one another or injuring one another. So these are challenges that our students are facing, and they need your professional guidance and services. We have even marriage issues. You find people getting married within a month or two. They are no longer staying together. You wonder what is happening. And it happens among the workers. It happens among the students. It's a big challenge. We have also some victims, like accident victims, like terrorist victims, as Dr. Lillian was saying, and they need to undergo this kind of professional services. Some students engage in drugs, engage in drinking alcohol, and other things that do not really help them. And at the end, they find themselves in a difficult situations. Therefore, they need also their professional services. Some of them have parental issues that need somebody to intervene. And you are the professionals who are to take care of that. Some of them engage in deviant behavior. They don't want to behave the way they have been guided. So you have to find out what are the problems that are causing these people to have a deviant behavior. Those are the areas that you need to explore and see how to assist. Some have health issues. Because of health issues, they are unable even to control themselves. And therefore, your professional services are required. So, your area is wide. And for this workshop, you will focus on mental health anxiety. And I'm very sure that at the end of this workshop, you would be able to provide solutions for our students in our different universities. And I have appreciated some of the achievements that you have made, particularly the introduction of these peer counselors. I think that one is very critical. I've seen it here. Lois and the team, they have really put a lot of emphasis on that. So we really appreciate that one. You need to promote. And the mentorship also is something very critical among students, so that you can focus on mentorship also. It is very, very, very important. These are the critical areas that really can help our universities. And therefore, we have been thinking previously whether we need to have a place whether the counseling department can have a place on how to have more facilities to be able to guide these students in a better way. We are still thinking about it, and we hope we will be in a position to find a solution. Otherwise, I want to thank you very much for coming to the University of Eastern Africa, Baraton, and I believe this workshop is going to be a game changer, so that at the end, the benefits will trickle down to our students and workers also. Therefore, this workshop is very important, and take the issues in detail so that you can be able to find a solution. And in this regard, it is my singular honor to declare this workshop officially opened. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, the VC, Professor Mayo. How we pray that God blesses you mightily, so that next time we come, we find you in the same position, or even better. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to welcome you again.
Thank you.
This is the first time still after doing 14.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, I think you have gone for too long.
Mm-hmm.
So, come, even if you can come annually, we have very good places where you can stay.
Thank you for giving us that honor. Thank you. We are coming back.
And we have seen that we have a beautiful campus.
Mm-hmm.
So, you are most welcome.
Thank you. We are definitely coming back. The DVC, thank you. You were with us yesterday, and you are still here with us. And we believe you will still be here even if the VC is gone, so that you're part of the workshop. Mm-hmm. Oh, good. Mm. So I want to request us, before you go, Prof, that we have a photo with you together with the team, and then we have tea together as well.
You pray for tea.
Just stand there, we pray for the tea as well.
Oh, okay.
As we go out, let's stand, pray for thank God for the tea, and then after the photograph, we'll continue. Let's pray. Jehovah God, what a day that you've given us. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice in it. Bless us as we even go over for a photograph and then a small bite. In Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, is it afternoon? Oh, good afternoon. So I know you have enjoyed a cup of tea, and you also remember the good speech that we have just heard from our Vice Chancellor, Professor Philip Mayo, and also from the DVC. This morning, or this afternoon, we would want to have our first session, and the speaker is here with us as she come, kwa sababu ameenda for health break, na anakuja. As she come, I want to remind you of the following. Number one, the good word that we have shared this morning from Dr. Rebecca. It was all about the issues of life, that we guard our hearts. Do not forget to guard your heart. I also wish to remind you what one of the counselors said, and I can summarize as Nani come, as the speaker comes. I want to summarize all what we have said this morning. That the following are things that counselors that are gathered here, they hate. They hate the following. One of the things that counselors hate is gossip. The other thing that counselors hate is lying or cheating. The next thing that some of you said they hate is laziness, idleness. There is also backbiting. That counselors don't like people who backbite. But I wonder, could we be having one of us who could be falling into this temptation of backbiting? Then there is also madharau. I hate madharau. Then after that, there is something else. I wrote everything. Wrong picture. Mediocrity. That was by Dr. Lillian. I'm looking at others. Idleness. Pretense, dishonest, lack of integrity, overthinking. Those are some of things that we hate. And there are many other things that we really love. So the opposite of what we hate is what we love. We can conclude by saying so. So as we sit and get our next session, I would request that kindly, if you don't mind, do not sit next to somebody from the same university. Sawa. Like now we have Dr. Eunice and Kapsir. They are seated together. Kindly look for, let me relocate you, please. If I find that the two of you are from the, yes, we can mingle. Kindly you can be near Nani, the most. Yes. Yes. Sawa. I think you can go there. I can see all Kabarak at the back. Yes. Sawa. Yes, we are waiting for the speaker. Let's all be upstanding. She's here with us. Let's be upstanding. Yes, and lift up your right hand and assume you are holding a pen. Right. Assume you are holding a pen. Right eye. Then you write your name. Let's go. I, Francis. You say your name and then you write it. I, Francis. Francis. I can't hear your name. I, Francis, do commit that I will be in for all sessions of this workshop. I sign. Can you put your signature there? That's very good. What we were saying is that you were taking an oath that you will stay in and attend to all our sessions. And I am happy that nobody has resisted. Nobody has rebelled. Our speaker today is Marine Kawera. She is from Africara. Yes, we interacted with her well last year at Desta University. She is a lady that is endowed with a lot of knowledge, though she is young, but she is loaded. She has come loaded with knowledge. We want to introduce her, and I would wish that she introduce herself because I'm not able to introduce her well. And then after that, we shall move out, and the next sessions, we'll carry it out of this place. Let's celebrate Kawera.
Hi, everybody. Hi again. I know today we're so used to having conversations seated like that. Or I come here, I read a speech. Most probably people will not understand 80%, but they will hear bits and pieces, ask questions, and it's done. So today we are going to do it completely different. You will consider it group therapy. You will consider it so many things. But in the same process, I will still deliver the message, and we will do a very different activity that we have recently developed for the main purpose of mental health awareness, as well as bits and pieces of advocacy. So my name is Marlene. I am the founder of Africala Arts. Africala Arts has different components right now. And since the last time we met, it has really grown. It has grown because now we have 2 podcasts, one purely for creatives to talk about some of the challenges they go through. They get an opportunity and support group. And then we have Mental Talk. This one is purely for discussing mental health related issues. Like mental health only, lived experiences, different aspects, self-care, and all that. So today we will do a game. But the game will teach you so much about aspects that lead to anxiety, as well as also some of the things that are embedded in not only anxiety, but there is also issues of trauma, there is issues of phobia that are all related to anxiety. So before I even continue, I think we are going to head out so that we do 2 things concurrently. I hope we will all be very attentive. So I would like us to leave our notebooks behind. There will be a distraction. So long as I do not hear it in the middle of the... we can put them on silent. Yes, though the activity will be very engaging, so I'm not even sure if you will have the time to use your phones, but yes, let's carry them. Yes, so I will lead you there. Let's get out as brief as we can, so we can leave our sweaters, our scarves, all the things that are heavy.
This one, unajua certificates ni for the participants peke yao. How it is meant for student counselors from these universities. Yeah. So you are a nurse. What we will do, we are organizing for a peer counselors training sometime before the end of the year. Next semester, most likely, tutakuinform. Yes, but nimekwambia, this one is specific.
Yeah. Oh, it's not for them, it's for the recording.
Hey. Hello. Hello. Emmanuel.
It's not working, Doc. Okay, so I'm saying, that forensic investigator, you know, I really love to do investigation, and especially I now I couldn't. I will be one. Okay. My neighbor wanted to be a doctor, a medical doctor, but then she said that she couldn't be because she's afraid of blood. So she finds herself now doing counseling, you know, as a way of just trying to compensate for helping people because that was her motivation.
Thank you very much. And thinking of where we have, I said that at some point there are certain things in their head. And for example, I also wanted to be a doctor, and I'm so afraid of blood. So I totally understand where you're coming from. I went to KU while I was in Form 3, and that is what even changed my whole decision career and all that. And our first step was the move. I made it as far as into the door, seeing the bodies, and I told them that, you know what, I really wanted to come for this trip, but I think I've already decided that, dog, I can't be, not spend even a day inside this specific place. So there are some things that we put in our minds that form prepositions of thoughts, and we normally use the word stress, and in most cases we end up misusing the word stress. We end up misusing the word stress. Every time something small, hey, I'm in stress. Don't even come to my office right now. Huh? Niko na stress, niko na kazi mingi. And we all have those specific moments where we wake up in the morning, we don't even feel like leaving the bed. And that is a form of certain things. It's either you're tired, you feel overwhelmed, you've been working for a very long time. You've not even had some time for yourself. So self-care at that time is not a priority because you have deadlines. And especially, I understand that most of you being lecturers, there are sometimes the deadlines are very serious for one reason or the other. Though, when it comes to thinking of how we react to stress, how do different people react to stress? And that is what even brings us very close to anxiety. Anxiety is a result of, one, the things we experience, the way we feel about things, either things we can talk about or things we cannot talk about, the way we approach things. So of phobia, have very serious phobias. Especially, there are people who are very afraid of insects, and when they see certain insects, they even freeze. They cannot move, they cannot tell you what the problem is because they are sweating and it's just an insect. So it's a serious phobia that causes you to almost feel like you're not yourself. And those are some of the things that we need to really address. When we talk about things like PTSD, a lot of people just mention it. PTSD, I went through this and I was experiencing this for so many reasons. And you find that there are certain ways that your body reacts to certain things. You see, sometimes it's not our fault that we react that way. It's how we have been taught to cope with certain things. It's how we have even taught ourselves, created our own coping mechanisms. You see, more often than not, we find ourselves in places where you're not even sure how you're supposed to react. Because of one, for example, I am the dean, and if I react like this, people will take me as being weak. People expect me to have the answers. I don't have the answer and I don't know what to tell them. So that makes you feel some sort of weak. You feel overwhelmed. You're not sure how you're going to tell people that you cannot do this right now. Because justifying why you're scared, why you're feeling that way, becomes a problem. And these are some of the things that most people do not add. Because one thing we have realized is that sometimes it's just a word that can make someone feel safe. Sometimes it's people, sometimes it's the smell of something. The people who like, when they get home, they like the scent of home, There is an air freshener that you have put somewhere at the corner. Every time you spray it in the house, you just feel relieved, you feel safe, you feel my house smells so nice. And that gives you an ability to cope with a bad feeling. Maybe outside was too overwhelming and now of your house or the smell of food. Some people it's chocolate, it's a part, something that you can relate with safety. You see? Sometimes it's an activity, a gesture. There is someone who can really react, and when you hug them, they just relax. And then now they start talking. After almost 1 hour of not talking, you've been asking them, what is the problem? What is the problem? What is the problem? And they could not even respond. But immediately you became a safe space for them. They find an opportunity to talk. They feel, okay, maybe that is what I needed. I needed to feel that someone is close to me before I even talk. So these are just some of the things that we as people, we're social beings. People is social beings. That's why children feel safer with adults aside. It's because they're sure this person is big and according to them we usually have all the answers. It's not to them, they feel safe when their mother is around, when their father is around, while their elder sibling is around, when someone is around. You see, there are different ways of how we can cope with certain things. So, would love to hear from.
Well, I'm Eunice. I wanted to be a full-time pastor and no, which one? Okay. Now, I wanted to be a full-time pastor, and I actually first trained in theology and completed my bachelor's degree in theology. Then soon after that, I got married after 1 year. And so I moved from the location I was born to a different location. But when I reached in that different location, I was not given the job opportunity that I wanted in the church because of gender equality was not considered. So I went to several interviews, and they always a man because they believe I could not give communion, I could not marry them off, I could not bury them. But of course I have done practical things, so I was well equipped to do those things. So I was so frustrated, and I went into a serious depression. And okay, just to briefly tell you, I was married officially, and in our culture, when you're married officially, that means people took cows to your father's house, and okay, you went to the church and you made your vows. So I got into such a depression that I was considering going back home to my mother. But because I knew the process of me going there, the process that those elders who brought the cows have to do and come back for me, and the negotiation and all those things that go with that, I just decided before I make that decision. I was actually deep into depression. I won't tell you all those stories, but so just before I considered to do that, there was one lady in the same church we were ministering. Then I'm married to a pastor also. So the church we were ministering, my husband had been given 10 churches to minister, but for me, even one was very hard. So just before I left, just before I packed my bags, there's a lady who was working in Egerton. So I told her, you know, I'm just about to go home. And she told me now, okay, I told her what I was going through. Because, you know, you are newly married, you have no children. My children came 7 years later, so I had no children. So the two of us, ni sufuria moja, kikombe moja, kijiko mbili, those kind of things. So when you wake up in the morning, you wash those, you wash your 2 clothes, and then you have nothing else to do. But for him, he has to roam around to the 10 churches. When he comes, you've been there. I had come from a different place. So I'm new in this area. And so, you know, pastors, when they come to your house, you give them food. They are so full. Then they left their wife in the house. So by the time anarudi, I don't want to even see him. Actually, I've been sleeping the whole day because I'm new in this area. And the people in this area also expected that it was their daughter to get married. Now a person from another place has been brought. So I was already rejected in this area. And having no friends. Okay, you don't know anybody. So when he goes, he comes back in the evening. You have slept the whole day because you can't leave the house. Where are you going? So I went deep into a depression. And just before I left, I talked to this lady, and she helped me by going to apply for me the master's course in Egerton. It was just beginning, and that way I was able to leave the house. I was serving in this church that ukivaa longi, unaambiwa you are worldly, umeanza kuwa wa dunia. And by the way, they don't tell you. They put in the suggestion box ya kanisa. So the elders are the ones who come to read those things. They say you don't have children. It's your first year. But already they have said you're not having children because you are aborting. And it's your first year. Even you have, you know, you are not having sex before. So you don't even know these sex issues. But it was such a challenge. And I found myself going deep into depression. So from then on, I changed my tactics. I went to school. Of course, I did my master's in Egerton. We were in the pioneer class. Then after that, God removed us from that church environment and took us to another. We had to resign because of the challenges that were there for the family, and we are very young. You know, when you are still young, you don't even ask some questions. Nobody gives you answers, because even then you're going there. I think I got married at 24. So that church already is expecting so much of you that you're not even aware. You know, you've not been married before, so you don't know anything. And before even they start mentoring you, they fight you before even they mentor you. So that was a mental challenge to me. I almost went back, and actually I was almost packing because there was no hakukuwa raha ile ndoa. But sasa raha haiko inaleta. Church ilikuwa my oppression. But I had to change tactics, and nowadays I decided I'll never go to a church interview. But later we created our own ministry, me and my husband, and so I still cannot go for an interview even in that church, but I am who I am because I had now to reinvent my own will and see what I can do. So now I am an associate, but I said I'll never seek employment from a church, but I can be able to create the same church myself. So ilikuwa disclosure.
Definitely. Yes. So actually, because of we know we have so many stories right now, and we are trying to also keep it to the minimum. We said we Yes. So, and the people who are passing the card, you pass the person behind you. Everyone get a card, but you first pass it, the person behind you. When you read, you pass behind you. You read, you pass behind you. Yes. So when you get a card, you pass it behind you. So another thing about anxiety is phobia and paranoia. And these two things, you can. So, when we talk about paranoia and we talk about phobia, when I ask right now, some people will confuse, but I would like someone to try to differentiate between phobia and paranoia.
Insects.
All of them involve a form of scare, a form of fear. Yeah, they all. It's just that one is very extreme. When we talk about phobias, we just don't talk about fear. We talk about a form of disabilitating fear, something that can stop even thinking in itself. You can't even think whether to run or where to go or hide. There's so many things that are related to phobia. So looking at your partner or talking to your partner, this time we have two questions. One, what do you fear and why? What do you fear and why? People's fears. I believe we've finished answering that question. So I said that there were 2 questions. So the next question is, if you only had 24 hours left, what would you do and why? Only 24 hours. If you only had 24 hours to live, what would you do with your 24 hours? Now this shows how... if you only had if you only had 24 hours to live, only 24. Let's move a bit. Karibu. Back. Yes. Actually, the next bit is anxiety and insomnia because they are very related. So, yes. Yes. We remember our 2 designated chairs. You will tell us what you feel.
Yeah, before I shared, I had a moving story fear from my colleague about the baby of our daughter that when she died, and by the time that they were being removed from the morgue and being taken to the for patio, so the daughter had to hold the baby all the way. And he handed over to be put to the casket and to be buried. I remember a day when I was in I was in a church compound, and then suddenly there was a nurse living in the church compound. He had rented a house in the church. Maybe because of the demands of the duty, this nurse made a decision to lock the children, 2 kids, inside the house and go to work. Suddenly, there was a smoke coming out from the house. Perhaps the babies played around with the matchstick and they light the mattress in the house. So the 2 of us, we were in the compound, we ran. And we tried to open the house, it was locked. Good enough, this guy made a decision, kicked the door, and the door was open, went inside and picked the children. So from that day, anytime I see the smoke, that trauma that I went through at that period ignite those memories. And every time I fear even leaving the matchbox in my house. I collect them everything, try to take it because I know maybe the same incidents may happen and they may cause that. Now, if I've given 24 hours, what am I going to do? It's a difficult one on what are you going to do, but one thing is that I'll try to do any action to be able to save anything at that situation at that time, rather than waiting them to destroy by the fire.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that question. You've even made me fear asking my next question. Because my next question is, if your house was on fire, what would you save? Now I'm even scared of asking you that question because I would not want it. Yeah, yeah. So these specific fears, and sometimes I currently support a certain anxiety group in University of Nairobi. And there was this student, actually I think right now is an alumni, who before seeking therapy used to be very afraid of exams. Not that he has not studied, he's actually studied very well. But when he hears the name exam, he cannot even leave his room. He will sweat, he will become sick, he will not be able to talk. He will actually spend the exam week in the hospital because there is nothing it because he is literally sick. He cannot think about the exam. So I will tell you a story. I come from a very big family, a very big one. We have all 47 tribes in our family. We cannot even make tribal jokes, to be exact, because you look like you are targeting someone or a certain family. So we have a cousin who was termed stubborn. Stubborn. When he reached a certain age, he did not want to leave the house. So this is someone who you cannot take. This is someone you cannot take to church. This is someone you cannot even take to their own relatives. And every time he gets near the door, you can scared. Like very scared. Very scared that he will even, like, I don't know what he was expecting will happen when he's outside, but he will even at even when the one day the dad was talking about the son, that gets a reason to go out and do the drugs, because at least he will be outside. Okay, he leaves the house late because he had to. The therapist did not leave the have come, they've tested. No, not wanting to leave the house. So he used to, when he has a problem, he used to say, "I would like to talk to my cousin." Just to, and when he's asked, "Why do you want to talk to that specific cousin?" We just want to talk about stories and all that. I might get sunburns. I might. He was actually so afraid of the sun, and when it is cold, he also has a reason for not going outside. You know, I fear pneumonia. Pneumonia kills. And you're like, no, what if nobody in the cold gets pneumonia? But what if I am not everybody? What if I do that? And when you tell him about getting into a car and going somewhere, what if he gets an accident? A number of excuses that he developed to back. His peers. Him was not. I want us to understand is that problem when comes see at that time peer counseling was not such a big component in high school. Like we did it for supporting each other, talking about challenges, talking about very odd stuff. As I remember, speaking about relationships, some small topics that are of interest to people of that age. But one thing we need to understand about anxiety is that it varies. There are extreme cases and there are mild cases. All of us experience the mild cases and due to one reason or the other, we are able to deal with it, Sometimes it's even women here, before they receive visitors into their house, they're a little bit anxious. You're like, will they even like the food? Huh? Will they even like my... Or once they leave the house, they will start talking about it. So all this is that we need to formulate ways of dealing with it on a day-to-day basis. And some of the things that work for me might not that. You see, that's why I usually say that in mental health, there is no one-size-fits-all kind of solution. It's things that we need to formulate every day. It's things that we will need to grow through. And some of these things we will have to either deal with or them to others so that we get a solution for them. So about mental health, what I say, let's keep innovating because this was not subject back. So thank you. I hope we've learned a thing or two about anxiety, PTSD, stress, fears, phobia. You've made me even scared. I have not been able to ask my last question. Huh?
Because you are live.
Yes.
You're talking to students who will be watching.
Yes. Yes. What I want to say is that mental health is something we are more of learning about. There are certain things that might affect people who are close to us. At some point, I discussed with someone mental health. What they told me is that those are rich people problems. I would like to say these are not rich people problems. Everyone can go through trauma. Anyone can go through stress. And anyone is allowed to not be okay, Lately, we are saying that it's okay not to be okay. This is because at some point, these are the reasons why most of us have failed in a component or not, because of either being too scared that we were not able to even take care of ourselves. One thing I want to say is that don't be afraid to seek help because it is not cool. At the end of the day, some of these things can be sorted very fast by talking to someone with the right knowledge. Sometimes it's a matter of finding someone you trust to discuss whatever it is. There's some things, even if you took someone to a psychiatrist, they will not talk about it. I had someone who went through therapy, the whole program. But in the end, they just told me that I never even for a day talked about my problem because I could not even trust the psychiatrist with my problems. How am I sure that they will be able to help them and it is my problem? So you see, there are very many reasons that people are so scared about seeking help. There are very many reasons that people are scared about... there are very many reasons that people fear admitting to not being okay, And one thing I want to say is that anxiety takes so many forms. I can be anxious and still be very confident. I can be suicidal and still come out, laugh, make jokes, and all that. I have so many cases where yesterday we were just with him. He was just okay. And today, he's a statistic on death by suicide. But yesterday, he even had a party. They were even with the family. He even promised me this and promised me that. But today, they are no more. And according to them, they're like, it did not even look like he had even a problem. It did not even look like he had a headache or a stomachache. He was very vibrant and all that. So sometimes, these things might mask themselves. So it is always important to check on the people you care about. It is always good to remind them that they have someone they can count on. And it is always important that we find our own safe spaces. And let's remember that what might work for you might not work for me. And we are all different. So when people come with challenges, the best thing is even not to say anything so that we don't end up judging or even making the situation worse. And that's why lately we are talking about mental health first aid, so that we learn exactly what to say during certain situations. So that is something that we all need to look into and learn more about how to support each other, because we might all need that knowledge at some point. Today it's me, tomorrow it's you, so let's all support each other.
Let's give her a better hand clap. That was awesome. I have enjoyed the learning. This was a different kind of learning. And the little notes, we appreciate you, Marlene, and what you're doing. And especially, connecting with people your age and this age group, so that you can help them with matters of anxiety or all these mental health issues. Thank you very much, the Afala team. Let's clap for them again. Okay. So, yes. Prioritize these two things in life: positive self-talk and gratitude. Thank me later. Okay, you can have a seat there before she disappears completely. We want to just interact with the session and ask, have we learned, and what do we think we can do differently when we are addressing issues of anxiety. So it's an open session. What have you gathered from what you have learned? Oh, I'm seeing people want to move. Maybe you can now do a circle, a proper circle. Yes. Yeah, within the shade we can do a circle. Had a nice session with Africala, and the topic was on mostly about dealing with anxiety, and even where anxiety comes from. It can come from our phobias. It can come from the ways we are not able to deal with stress. So I want to get some contribution from a few people. Maybe we'll just have time for a few people, because time is far much spent. So tell me what you have learned and what you think you can be able to implement in your university. Any volunteers quickly, so that we can move. Yes, thank you. And you might need to come here to the center so that you're visible. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Caroline Lelo, a students counselor from Egerton University. I think one thing I've learned and I've appreciated by working, with each other is I realize we all have our vulnerabilities. We all have things we're afraid of and things we struggle with. I think a lot of the times we tend to feel that we are less human or more human, depending on the situation we're in. And we're all human beings on the same level. And being able to be vulnerable with each other and talk is what I believe is a hallmark of what we do as a profession. And being able to talk with each other, because we've had a lot of very deep things that unfortunately students don't open up that quickly, But because we are here, we feel we are in the company of people we trust. That's why we've been very easy to open. Only easy myself to open up to everyone who was here. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody else come. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kupca from University of Kabianga. What I've learned is that mental health is with us, and that there's some fears that are so deeply set that somebody can take a whole session of counseling and therapy and yet not mention what the problem really is. So as we deal with the students, we should know that in their inside, there could be things that are troubling. It's good to be close, to be there for somebody, so that there's that trust person can eventually bring out that which is deeply set inside you. Thank you. Anybody else? Happy?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I appreciate this team. Yeah, we are all looking younger. Yes, Well, I've learned one thing, that we are all fearfully and wonderfully made. Do you appreciate that verse in the Bible? Which verse is that? Since first Psalm 139. Yeah, why? Since we were asked, what is it that we fear? And we came out with different things. Some fear snakes, some fear death, some fear just failing an exam, as in the way she has put. Somebody fears an exam, then why are you in school that now you're fearing when you hear an exam, and yet that's what brought you there? So anyway, we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we need to appreciate each other, that we're all unique. And we have different issues to sort out. We have different crises. And for that case, whenever we are faced with a situation that are awkward situation, when we choose whom to interact with and socialize with, there we are, and we become relieved. And that's where we are all coming. Thank you very much.
Boy child, the men. I want to give a man an opportunity first. We have had 3 ladies.
Yeah, one thing, I am Gasharu Francis from Chuka University, a counselor. One thing that I have learned from that session is that because each one of us has an anxiety, make yourself a safe space. Sawa sawa. Make sure you have a safe space. And when you have a safe space, the anxiety will not take you home early. The anxiety, you will be able to manage it or away with it completely. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. Another gentleman. You only 3, and it, and he spoke very well. Yeah, he actually gave us a nice example.
Thank you. We are the endangered species. So that though I'm Reverend Dr. Julius Langat, I'm a counselor at Kabara University, I've learned that though we are counselors, we are also vulnerable like any other person. The partners I was seated with, I realized, like Esther, had phobia for darkness. When the parents transferred from city to the rural areas, Pala Aliona Kisa, there was no tar. And myself, I fear water because I drowned once, but I did not die. That's why I'm here. So any pool of water that pacing, I fear somehow, but I'm managing it. So thank you. I've learned a lot.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Rosetino from Kisii University. I've learned a lot. Sometimes when clients come to our hands and they're explaining their anxiety and their fears, then you realize that the source of the fear can be so unreasonable. And actually that is why it's phobia. That there is really nothing making you to fear that particular object, but you find yourself fearing it. Like me, I fear rats. I was sharing with, but what can really a rat do to me? Yet these are real psychological issues. So as counselors, we have our own phobias and fears, and our clients who come to our hands have the same. When she was sharing about this high school girl, then I'm thinking of a girl that I saw some time back. She graduated, but I realized that issues that affect people, especially early childhood experiences, and more so rape, sexual assault in a child's life, when they grow up and they reach universities where we work, then you realize that the presentation is the same. There's really a close relationship between adverse childhood experiences and anxiety. So therefore, as counselors, I was just thinking that sometimes we are overwhelmed, we get busy, you may feel like I have another client, but it's really, really important to go back to these clients' early childhood experiences, because the presentation was quite similar to those I've been seeing in my clients. Yeah, so this is a great. Finally, the sitting arrangement. When we came in, I thought, is this going to be empty chair technique? Then I realized it's not. So we are always learning. And as counselors, we are always in the process of being made.
Thank you. Okay, Esther.
Kabarak University, and one thing that I've learned even to is that as counselors, you know the story before you judge. understand people from where they are standing. Because sometimes you can look at someone and like, well, she's of age. And then you don't know the story behind, including the childhood experiences. Some of them escalate when there are some triggers, even as we age. So, and even teachers who deal with young people and everybody, we're social beings. Before you get to approach somebody or to judge somebody, get to know their story. And then take people from their point of view. So I've really learned a lot, and even as a counselor and we're dealing with young people, it is good to get to know their story and then judge from the point of knowledge. Thank you.
Okay, you have decided. All right, all right. Thank you very much, and I can see there are more people arriving. Who wants us to give us a case study of how they have dealt with anxiety in a class, and how and which techniques they were able to apply to successfully help that client? Anyone who has a good example of a client you have helped? What anxiety issue did they have, and which are the strategies that you used? Okay, come. Okay, that can work as well. Come.
Yeah, I'm Dr. Eunice. I have this client. The father used to have a matatu business. So where he used to park those matatus, this lady is unable to go to that place because the father died, and so she has a phobia. This lady is a friend to my late grandmother, who passed on just last year in November. So my grandmother also had a church. So whenever this lady passes where my grandmother had her church, she can drive through there if she's driving, but she cannot come back with the same car. So she has to call maybe her driver to come pick her from wherever she is, because she's unable to pass there again. So how do I deal with this case? I have the case, but I am afraid to deal with it. I know it's desensitization, but you cannot go to her and then you start panicking what to tell her. Anyway, you can help me there.
Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Then, doctor, I think a lot of these cases, they stand with avoidance. Case of avoidance, it means they also maybe are avoidant in nature when it comes to conflict with any other issues that they have in their lives. So maybe that's an aspect that you have to assess in them to see if they have an avoidant personality type and how bad it is. Because if this is in terms of course, you've seen signs of the avoidance. What other aspects of their lives is it originate? Because they were being brought up, they were never maybe given autonomy to decide for themselves, and maybe conflict was treated like a very negative thing in such a way that it was bad to discuss some things or to confront your emotions or confront anything that's being done to you that's wrong. So I think assessing that in them first can also be able to gauge how you can systematically desensitize them, because it's much like a phobia that they've developed around the anxiety of death. So you can start by systematically desensitizing them after you've establishing more of a background history of how long have you been having these issues, any other issue pertaining the avoidance. Yeah, thanks. Okay.
Good afternoon once again. Now, for me, looking at that case, Eunice, I'm thinking it is more of PTSD because this client is exhibiting the symptoms of PTSD. So just follow the steps of treating a client with PTSD and you'll be able to help the client. As Caro says, avoidance is one of the components of PTSD. So she's avoiding because of the fear. So you must make this client experience that avoidance for you to be able to help the client.
Maybe I ask the counselor, what about grief? Have you handled that issue of grief? And where the client at the point of grieving? Because now that he lost the father.
She told me about the case, but I'm supposed to go. So I told her that's a counseling issue I will come. But you see now I've been thinking now when I go, how do I approach this issue?
Because personally I'm thinking that where there is loss through death, then that should be the priority. When you are prioritizing, even when you are looking at those other issues like avoidance, but what about grief? As the client processed the grief, but at what stage? If that is the trigger, even if death is the trigger, there could be other issues, yes, but the immediate issue there, for me, I think that because there's a loss of a significant other, then that needs also to be handled. Yeah.
Say the anxiety is real. They know guys from Kabarak. I lost my father-in-law and he was really close to me. I almost sank into depression. I didn't know how to overcome this grief. And but I can say time heals in a way. When you go through the process of grief, I didn't want to go up country because I could see where he was seated every time, where I could find him, how he could greet me. And at some point, I didn't to get even outside our house in Kabarak. I was like, I've lost someone who is so significant to me, my mentor and my pastor. And then within a very short time, I also lost my mother-in-law. They followed each other. And then I would take attacks. Like, if I'm thinking to go home, up country Kabaranet, I would even be scared to come out of our house. It was really tough. And I couldn't know what was happening. And then guys would say, you're a counselor, counsel yourself. You're a pastor, what yourself? And yet people could not understand. So at some point, I just went through grief and talking to even guys, like it is heavy when you lose someone. Because you can have all the mental picture of where they sit, the words they talk to you, where, everything and the interaction that you have. So I think time will heal, but when they go through grief and trauma, counseling, and then I think time will also heal. Time just heal. Now I can go home and even get to their house and get to see, go to their grave, and even look at them, and I just let them sleep well. Meaning that without time heals, and then the talk therapy. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so I hope through the course of this interaction and as we go on with the workshop, that we will be doing our own case conferencing around issues of anxiety. We've really come to learn about how to deal well with anxiety. So make sure you bring those cases or any that comes to mind, and let's see how we can help each other. We are on our next break, which is the lunch break. I know we have just eaten, but we already have the next session. The facilitators have come, so we need to either agree we eat lunch quickly and then we go for the session, or go for the session and then, but the lunch is ready. Itapoa tena sana. Yeah. So what do? We do lunch quickly, and then we convene at 2. Because our facilitators are here. Okay, thank you very much. Wait, if there's an announcement.